Hi, everybody.
Hey, you said it's not doing the work just because you have a diagnosis.
Yeah. And
that's great. That's great. Just because you figure out what it is doesn't mean you're working on it.
Yeah, I have been sitting in this this space of so much gratitude for the important people in my life. Just because I'm seeing clients, family, friends, acquaintances, I shouldn't say friends, just struggling to find connection and struggling to find other people that are really there to help support them, and just thinking about how, in a healthy way, curated and cultivated the relationships are in my life, and then how the people there that are closest to me, we'd have conversations about like serious struggle.
Yeah.
And I hear the conversations at a surface level with clients and friends and family where they're like, I've identified this bad thing because trauma is the cool thing to talk about right now, and how somebody has traumatized you is safer than it's ever been to talk about. But at the same time, it's a lot of people just not doing that work, not going to that place because it's so scary. And just how grateful I am for the people that are closest to me for actually going to that space and actually doing that work. I don't know, I was thinking about this, we were texting about it yesterday, and just like how cool it is to see somebody doing that actual work and being in that space of, I'm going to approach this. I'm going to look into, Nietzsche's the abyss, to the shadow. And not just like, I was traumatized. My dad was a narcissist. I was traumatized. My mom was bipolar or borderline. And that's why every relationship that I have is with a narcissist. It's like, I don't know if he's actually a narcissist or if that's just the easy way out.
Yeah, I do see that a lot too.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. I don't know, and when I'm thinking about that from the perspective of, like our relationship, I think two things come to my mind. One is how, maybe I'll say it like this and get real personal with everybody.
Okay.
Even this morning when we were talking, I was like, hey, is it okay or would it help you if I would do this thing? And you were like, yeah, Zach, because it's kind of hard to follow you sometimes with this thing and this thing. And so, yeah, maybe that would be helpful.
Yeah.
Not just that, but maybe I'll say this is the bigger point, not just like me, but what helps you to feel safe to be like, yeah, Zach, it's difficult to be your friend. Because I know that it is. Like, and we don't have to dance around that. 'Cause it's hard to be my friend. That's not to say that there's not good things that come with that too.
Sure.
But like, what do you think from a safety perspective for you to do your work in our friendship makes it so that it's easier to come to me?
I don't know if I have a short answer off the top of my head. I'll definitely say, like, to get personal, for me in the beginning, there's definitely a lot of neurodivergence in my family. Kind of the same flavor that you have, and I've got my own flavor of neurodivergence.
Your mom's autistic.
Yeah. My mom, well, not officially diagnosed, so it's like I feel a little bit silly saying that sometimes, but
I get that too.
there's some spectrum-y behaviors for sure. And, as I grow and learn more about like the family that I grew up in, there's my personal experiences that I've had with my family, which was very unique. And for anybody who doesn't know my backstory, I have a very unique history where I was homeschooled kindergarten through 12th grade, in a very conservative Christian home, and we didn't get out much. It was a time in the world where my parents were very afraid of the things that were going on inside of public schools. Both my parents had terrible experiences, being bullied or being getting into the wrong groups inside of schools, and that's like where my dad has his substance use history. Was falling into the wrong crowd, and my mom just, her neurodivergence, we know from the research, like just terribly bullied. They tend to be inordinately picked on by neurotypicals in school, and so both of them decided to homeschool me, and specifically as a way to kind of isolate, probably not the word they would use, but the word that I felt, from those negative influences. Like that was the motivation, was like to isolate and to be very selective about the people who had voices in my life. And so on the one hand, I'm eternally grateful because I did not experience any sexual, physical trauma like growing up in that way. But the loneliness I felt like growing up was really, really intense. And then from there, I met my wife as a senior, and we started dating, but both very conservative. So we did not have any kind of like physical sexual intimacy until after we got married. The first time we kissed was at the altar, which is quite a unique story. And then I never actually went to a formal school until grad school. And then grad school was Palm Beach Atlantic, which is also a Christian like focus, they pray before class kind of school. And so not knowing how lonely I felt because I didn't know anything else is a big part of my story.
So it got normalized almost, like,
Yeah.
no, like loneliness is normal.
Yeah. Loneliness and work. Loneliness and work. Because when you're homeschooled, your mom is also your teacher.
Yeah.
So those roles get blurry,
Yeah.
What does, I can only imagine because I've never been to, any kind of other school, but I imagine there's this kind of nice separation between, I hate my teacher, what a jerk, she gives me all this like homework to do, and then like I get to come home to mom, but that's the same role for me. So it's like, which of this is my teacher is proud of me, and which of this is my mom is proud of me? Oof. And am I loved because of my work, or am I loved because I'm my mom's son? Mm. And so it gets blurry. So anyways, all that to say, when you're asking that question about like it's difficult to be a friend, it's hard for me in the beginning because a lot of the things that you would do would remind me of the painful things that I experienced with my mom.
Yeah.
And so, what did I do? I think I thought to myself, like, kind of what you're saying. I can either move away and avoid this topic in my life because it's painful and has been difficult for me, or I can try in this new opportunity, friendship with Zach, to like move closer towards it and see if some insight comes from that.
That's so powerful, because what I think he did there is something that is, I mean, at least for me in my normalized trauma, like that's the most painful thing that one can do, is say like, I'm just putting myself in your shoes. Wow, I just met this new friend that is so much like the person that's traumatized me the most in my life.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that I don't want to, like, I mean, I do that, but I don't want to. I don't want to do that. Like, Because, well, and then the question is about safety. Like, because that's not safe.
Yeah.
That's not safe at all.
Man, but if I'm honest, like, that's the other half of the story, which I shared with you, is there's a lot of stuff about my mom, which is very true, but, you know, I have my experience, like I was saying, my experience growing up. But then you get older and you start to hear more of the story from relatives or grandparents or aunts and uncles about, like, what was actually going on. And my mom protected, you know, us children from the story of all the things that were going on in my parents' marriage and their relationship. And so a big part of that was recognizing, only through a conversation with a friend, just how much my dad was gone, like, growing up. Whew. And so, you know, a big part of that is, man, like, feeling protected is hard. And so I don't know if part of it...
We weren't expecting to get here, were we? I'm getting emotional too.
Yeah, it's okay though.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if a part of it is like, not knowing what it feels like to be safe. So it's weird, right? Like, one part is I want to move closer towards the things that are difficult. But the other part is, do I only do that because I don't know what it means to be safe?
Well, just one, to validate that, but the second one thing is, like, I think that so many people's stories is almost this, like, we see this in relationships with our clients and family. Like, I want so badly, like, there is two parts of us. Like, I want so badly to move towards that in a unsafe way. At the same time, I feel like I can't. Like, that's too hard. Like, I can't do that. Like, that's gonna be too much. And so we find, like, these, a lot of clients in the space of just, like, recreating that dysfunction over and over and over again in their relationships.
Yeah.
Instead of, because they have one foot wanting to move towards it and the other one is just, like, holding them back. So they get to the opportunity of, like, addressing it like this, like, face to face.
Yeah.
But then they get out of it. And they never actually do that. And so I think that's so many people's stories right there. Like, one part of me wants to move towards that. One part of me doesn't want to move towards that because it's not safe enough.
Yeah.
So, like, maybe my question is, like, what, like, how do you do that? How do you say, oof. How do you say, this person resembles so many things that I need to work through because of all of the pain and the suffering that I've normalized since the beginning? And I'm going to sit in that. I'm going to be there.
Yeah.
I know what I'd say to a client, but...
I'll give you my two answers. One is a healthy one, and one is not a healthy one. The unhealthy one is based upon my traumatic life experiences, which is no one's coming to save you. You're not safe. You have to keep yourself safe. And so the unhealthy way is, well, I must move closer towards this thing that I'm afraid of, because if I don't learn about this thing that I'm afraid of, I am in the most danger of being hurt by it. And nobody else is going to be there to protect me from that. The healthier response is something that I teach my interns all the time, and that's two things. I teach my interns because we were just talking this morning before we started this recording about trauma therapy, and they're getting ready to do some classes and stuff in that, and so I shared with them the healthy response is, one, I have a deep belief that I cannot be destroyed. And so there is this thought inside of myself that there's nothing that I can do or nothing that I can go into. Like, my body can die, but who I am can never be taken from me.
That goes back to the message that I sent you probably late last week.
Yeah.
About the guy who crashes funerals.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yes. Go ahead, tell the story. Yeah.
This guy is his job, and he's made a business out of it. What he does, you can hire him before you die, and he'll go to your funeral and tell off anybody that you want to tell off for you. And I was just like, hey, Jesse, like, you know the people that will show up at my funeral who have no business showing up at my funeral.
Yeah.
Will you do this for me? And then
absolutely.
Because even if I do die, like, you're right, there's so much, like, who I am isn't there. And there will be people at my funeral that will show up who have no business showing up.
Yeah.
And they will pretend that I am not the person that I was for their grief process. But the person I am is still the one that even after my death is going to get my friends to be like, and you, fuck you.
Exactly.
You probably should leave right now. And there's people here that resent you for even showing up.
Yeah, because I got another 20 minutes of stuff that I'm about to read out. And so if you'd like to stay, you're welcome, but you're not going to get away with it.
It's about you.
Yeah. But that is the belief, I think, that helps me keep going, is like, sure, like, things can happen to my physical form, but who I am cannot be taken from me. And so I think when I'm faced with looking into the abyss, I can fall as deep as I need to into the abyss because I have the confidence that who I am can never be stripped from me.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for that, I wouldn't be able to. I think the second piece is, like, in tandem with that, I have a deeply held belief that I share on all my social media stuff, that the war is not inside myself, it's outside myself. The moment that I become a house divided is the moment I will fall. The things that I do, the ways that my mind works, are never in a way to sabotage or to hurt me. And so that's one of the biggest gripes that I have about the mental health content that's spread on social media, because it's very clickbaity to say your mind is sabotaging you, your body is sabotaging you, your mind is tricking you. It makes you stop your scroll and listen to the video that they're sharing. But the premise is so broken, I think, and so traumatizing in its own way. You'll never be able to recover if you have that belief that my mind is trying to sabotage me. My mind is trying to help me in the best that it can, but it's also a part of me, and it makes mistakes just like I do. But I make mistakes because I'm trying my best. My mind is doing the same thing.
And even, like, I don't know how much of a mistake it actually is, because even in those mistakes, it's like that 1 foot trying to press in. It's like that 1 foot, like yeah, I want to get closer to this. I mean, my emotional reaction to that is, even in Thea and I's couples counseling on Friday, I was like in this deep feeling of, as a man, I do have a core belief that my truest emotions are gonna be too much. If I share them, I will end the conversation or the thought with needing to take care of the person that I just shared that with. And I told Thea in front of the therapist, like, I was like, she knows about the violence, the lots of violence.
Yeah.
Like, if I was to characterize my childhood, young adulthood, it was really, really violent. And I, even with my own clients, I find there to be very few clients that have had the instances of big, brutal death and violence that I've experienced.
Yeah.
That unless somebody's a military door kicker or is a gangbanger, they don't have the opportunity to experience that violence. And it's like, I have zero data that says that Thea can't sit in that space with me. But it's still so scary. It's so scary because I have so normalized. I know how this pattern goes. If I share how I feel about this, I'm gonna end up caretaking for the person that I'm sharing.
Yeah. I resonate with that.
And it's like that.
Talking to Joy last night about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Last night.
Yeah. Yeah. Last night. She was asking me, she's like, and appropriately so, she's like, why is it so hard for you to say what it is that you actually want? I was like, well, because the closer that it is to what I actually want, the more vulnerable it is, and the more that I don't have a solid grasp on it. And so if I share it with you, and you can't handle it, and then I need to take care of your feelings that developed because of what I shared, and I already don't have a good grasp on this, I will spiral and let you down at the same time.
Yeah, and you'll spiral too.
Yeah.
And then that'll be my fault. I think maybe, I'm just thinking about this right now, but maybe that right there is the difference between pressing in and saying, like, even though this is scary, I'm still going to do it, versus this is scary, so I gotta go.
Yeah, what do you mean?
And that's the big thing that I'm wrestling with this past weekend is I was just sitting in so much gratitude. Like, I don't know what it's like to be my friend. I don't even particularly like myself. I think people closest to me like me more than I do. In spite of the fact that it's probably more difficult for you to be, it's more difficult for you to be my friend than it would be for me to befriend parts of myself.
Maybe. I could see that. Yeah. Well, especially because of the personal story and the history that I have.
Yeah, well, in particular, but also some of my closest friends. I would say, it just so happens. Maybe it's that work, that safe space too, though. But I would question all of the people in my life that are closest to me. Like, why would you do this? Like, this seems like something that you should not do.
That's a cool question. It's like, why am I your friend?
I know because I trust that you've told me that and shared that with me. But also, like, there might be something wrong with you, man.
Oh, yes. Most certainly. Yeah.
There's that trend that was going on social media. I can't question my wife's decisions because I'm one of them.
That's good. I don't remember that one. That's great. I can't question my wife's decision because I'm one of them. Yeah.
I can't question my friends' decisions because I'm one of them.
You are.
But like that's the really cool part about it too is I think the people that I've gotten closest to were the people logically, if I wanted an easy life, are not the people that I should choose to be close with. They have a part in them that was a big, major, normalized part in the people that have hurt me the most. Does that make sense?
No.
Yeah.
I got lost there for a minute. Say it again. Or if it's gone, it's okay too.
No, I don't know that the it's a concept that's not fully developed in my head.
Sure.
Like, the people that are closest to me have the same part in them that I have in me, which is I want to work through that. I really do, even though it's so fucking painful. It's so fucking painful. Like, I'm sure my heart rate is up just thinking about how painful it is.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a couple things, like, you know, people ask me that too. They're like, you know, I don't know if I'm doing something wrong. Because it seems to happen more and more frequently where people be like, you do a lot, Jesse. Like, I get the sense that you're very busy, very active, you know, you're doing a lot. And I'm like, yeah, it seems to happen more and more often. And I'm like, well, yeah, this is true. And I always respond with two things. You know, one, I say yes, but I also don't do anything that I don't want to do. Like, I like doing these things because I've chosen to do them. And so I hope that there's no pity for that. Like, if that is a statement of recognizing who I am, I accept that statement. I love that statement. If that is a statement of pity, of like, oh my gosh, you're so busy, I don't accept that statement.
Yeah.
It depends on where it's coming from, is one. And then two, just because I do it doesn't mean you should.
Yeah.
I do this because this is me. Like, this is how I want to live my life. It may not be the way, in fact, it probably is not the way that you want to live your life, and that's okay. And so to that, you know, I'll say, like, you know, why am I Zach's friend? Or Zach, why are you my friend? Like, my answer is, you know, if I wanted an easy life, I probably wouldn't be your friend. Like, that's the point.
Yeah.
But what happens for me is the more that I push into stuff that I truly believe in and am passionate about, the more that I find I have no end.
Yeah.
Is like, you know, there's resiliency there, you know, like,
Yeah.
you take on a couple interns and your solo practice turns into a group practice.
Yeah.
Then you take on a few more, and then a few more, and then a few more, and you realize each step along the way, it's like, oh, 1 intern is tough. Oh, 2 interns is really tough. Oh, 3 interns is very difficult. But then 3 interns becomes normal. And then 6 becomes normal. And then 9 becomes normal. And then there's 25 people on the team, and you're one of the larger practices in Central Florida. And it's like, oh, you can keep going. There's no limit to it, you know. As long as you care about it and want it, like, it takes time and you have to be patient. But if you're patient, and patience, I think, is a sign that you really believe in something, it's like there is no, like, real limit to what you can do. So that's one. And then the second piece of that, in order to make sense of the whole thing, is I've never found it to be true that the safe thing makes a difference.
Why is that?
It's the unsafe and dangerous thing that actually has an impact. And so there's a big difference. I don't think our relationship is necessarily safe for me, but it's also not toxic.
Yeah.
There's a big difference there. And that's important. Like, you shouldn't just stay in a toxic job just to prove that you can make it.
Withstand it.
Right.
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense. That's not good for you. You shouldn't stay in a toxic relationship just to prove that you're tough enough to handle it. But if something scares you, it's probably because it is very powerful. And so, I like fast cars and fast motorcycles. Those are not the safe cars and motorcycles. They're not safe. They're dangerous, but they're not toxic.
Yeah.
Once you have approached them with respect and patience, they can be something really amazing. I think that's the people we look up to. It's like you don't look up to the person who hops on a motorcycle for the first time and is just learning to cruise through traffic. It's like you look up to the MotoGP riders. It's like they have mastered this machine that is so dangerous, and they've done it over a lifetime of patience and belief. They're like, this is something worth dedicating my life to.
Something that happened to me last week, just I don't know, maybe say that in a different way.
Yeah.
Is I was talking to somebody in my personal life who's a therapist, and was talking about a really difficult situation in their personal life that wrecked them. And my first response was like, if this is the extent of the capacity that you've learned that you can handle, what a privilege to be wrecked by that.
Yeah.
And that was my first thought. My second thought was, that's a little degrading. Is there another way that I can think about this that's more respectful? Because that was a part of me that was reacting to you, not. And then the next thought was, actually, what a privilege it is, because I looked at it if it's the center is neutral, this person, and I do believe that if we're going to look at it scale, it's a Likert scale for love and sorrow, or these seemingly opposing emotions. So a lot of times look at it you can't really feel that much love unless you have that much pain or sorrow.
Sure.
And so their capacity to deal with this situation was very narrow.
Yeah.
And so that's why this thing that was right outside of their pain tolerance was so wrecking, which is my window of tolerance was so wide that the thing, quite literally, the thing that wrecked them is something that I was I didn't share this with them, but thought it. I was I dealt with that twice last week and once this week.
Yeah.
And then I was I'm the one with the privilege of not just, and then I'm the one with the privilege. Well, I don't know if that trauma is a privilege. No, the trauma's not the privilege. It's the understanding that I can survive a greater window of tolerance and then addressing it. Just that understanding is something that I think that this person's never had the thought that they can.
Yeah.
That's nobody showed me nobody told me. Nobody modeled for me. I just realized that I did have that wider range of tolerance, and then I was able to deal with that, and not deal with it, but have that thing that I was like, yeah, I could deal with this twice last week and once this week. I got that.
Yeah. But like, it's nuanced though, because I think a lot of the clients that I talk to see their trauma as a privilege sometimes, and so I think that's one of the nasty pitfalls that we can get into, which is to start ascribing the amazing things about our personality to the trauma.
Yeah.
And so the rebuttal that I'll have for you, that I'm obviously resonating with pretty deeply, is that it wasn't the trauma that made you that way. There's a lot of people who have experienced, stuff like that, or even stuff less intense than that, and have chosen not to get better. But you chose a much more difficult path.
And what I'm no words to describe how much gratitude I have for, and I know you feel the same way. Like that's if we're gonna say like, why are we friends? That's probably it. Like what I can't, like no words for, like, I feel so grateful for deciding to say I want to learn resilience through this.
Yeah.
Because you're right, it's not the trauma. Like I don't even, there's nothing in me that wants to be grateful for that. I don't want to be grateful for the trauma.
No, nor should you.
Yeah.
That's incorrect.
Yeah.
That's wrong. But like, when you're thinking about finding relationships that are like important or impactful or can hold space for that, you have to find a person who's been there, And so there's a lot of people who haven't had that depth of experience in life, and that's okay, right? So on one side, just because somebody doesn't have the same depth of life experience doesn't mean that they can't be your friend,
Yeah.
But I think that's because not one person can be all things for another person, Like I may have one friend who cannot understand like the emotional depth of the childhood that I went through, but they understand the pain of growing a business.
Well, that's me. Like I don't understand that.
Well,
I don't understand that.
But in a different way, you do.
Sure.
Like you've had like traumatic experiences. So I guess that's what I'm saying is like, not one friend can be everything. Like I need friends in my life who understand the pain of growing a business because they've chosen to do that. I need other friends in my life who understand the pain of childhood trauma, And so I might look to different friends for different things. But then the other part of it is like, it is a choice, and it has to be a choice of what we press into. You may choose not to like grow resilience based on the terrible things you've been through. And a lot of people do that. That's the part that's incredible. Is like, some people do choose like, wow, this was terrible. Like, what can I do with this to make the world a better place?
Yeah.
The trauma doesn't get credit for that. The person does. So, yeah. All that to say, like, I think you do understand that depth. And so, also to validate what you're saying about the breadth of experience, like, I got a good friend of mine. I've been friends with him since we were little, and his life experience is here, right? And I value that in him. We're a different type of friendship because he's here. But sometimes that's nice. Like, I need to see what this is like. But then there's other times where I won't go to him with a certain story or experience because it's out here.
Yeah.
You know, and I've even experienced, and maybe this can be like validating for those listening, like I've even experienced where I will try and share those things, and you can see the moment when it comes beyond what they are capable of holding.
Yeah.
And so they respond with, you know, like trite comments or...
Well, and maybe I need to rethink that model too, because even that friend probably has those, or some of those big experiences, but the depth of the range of that I'm thinking about is maybe more likened to like willingness to go there, whatever that means. Like, I have some friends like that too. Is like some really terrible things have happened to them, but I still can't go to them, even violent things, even some of the same things that I've experienced, but it's still, their scope is so small because they're just like, I'm not going to go there.
Yeah.
That, okay, I see that moment where you're like, you're reacting to me in a way that says, I've overstepped a boundary because I want to share this thing with you.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's like, you have that same thing. Like, can't we
what are you talking
connect on this thing? No. And maybe that's what I'm so grateful for right now, is having people in my life that are like, I don't know what that means, but okay.
Yeah.
Instead of,
yes.
No.
Yes. And that's why even your comment of like, I haven't been through the things that you've been through, Jess. It's like, no, but we have a similar depth to it.
Mm.
And so it's like, I don't need you to go through the same things I've been through. I just, and that's a recurring theme in my life, is like, I just need someone who can meet me at my depth.
Mm. It feels a lot of the time that nobody can. A lot of the reason I'm learning about that right now is because that's the message that I've had to tell myself my entire life. Nobody can go there with you, Zach. And I'm wondering if that is not something that is actually true.
I think it's true of some people. Yeah.
Well, that makes it even more scary, because you're right.
Yeah.
How do I know?
You have to test it.
That seems very, very dangerous.
I want to take corners faster on my motorcycle. That means I need to crash. You got to figure out where the grip ends, where there's no more traction, and you really can't find that until you've been beyond where there's traction. Now, there's a safe way to do that, and there's a non-safe way to do that. When people heard me say, I need to crash, they probably thought of something very dramatic. What I mean is I'm going to put on all the gear, I'm going to get some crash bars on my bike, and I'm going to lean the bike over as far as I can at 5 miles an hour. It'll be like falling off a skateboard.
Yeah.
And I think we do the same thing with our relationships. I'm not saying give them 100% and see who explodes. That's probably not wise. But I think in the right environment, with the right safety precautions taken, you can see who can meet you there.
Yeah.
And there's observations you can make that'll demonstrate that too. And then there's tests you can have, not like toxic testing of a friendship, but just like, let me give them some of this and see how they digest it. It's like, oh, I'm seeing the pattern of how they digest things that are outside of their typical breadth. And that gives me confidence for sharing more, you know?
Yeah. Oof.
What are you feeling?
Late last year, my wife and I, our big horror film fans. And we were watching something and had like a mini panic attack. And what was happening in the movie happened to me.
That's why I don't watch a lot of horror movies.
Yeah.
Personally. Yeah. It's too similar.
And, you know, for lack of... I'm not. The issue was the setting was very particular, very much alike, and somebody died from having bled out. And my body had like a reaction to that because I've seen that. And then my conscious mind tried to jump in and be like, this is fake. This is fake. See, look, it looks different. And the way that the blood splatter was done in a slasher kind of, you know, exaggerated
It's Hollywood.
kind of way. It's like that wouldn't be like that, and that the amount of blood there is not accurate for somebody having been stabbed like that.
Which the reason, that you would know.
But my body still was just like, we're having a panic attack right now.
Yeah.
And started crying and was like, we can't do this right now. Like, I can't, like, I need to take a step back. But when you're saying that, as far as like testing it, it's like, I do want to be in that space to look at this trauma, but I also want to control the spiral when it spirals out of control. And so turned it off. We talked about it, and I'm like crying, and I'm like trying to justify to Thea about how this horror movie that's a slasher movie isn't real because people actually don't die like that. And she was like, what are you talking about? Like, she didn't say it dismissively, but she was like, you do know that I know that the sensationalized horror film in the genre of slasher, subgenre of slasher horror films is not realistic.
That's not the issue.
Why are you trying, and she asked me that question, she's like, why are you trying to prove that to me? And I was like, I'm not trying to prove that to you, I'm trying to prove that to myself to make this really dangerous situation feels a little bit safer.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, okay. She's like, do you want to share any of that experience? But then she said something that was really profound, which really got me when you were saying that. Well, it's a long story, but she created the space to know nothing about that, where she knew nothing about that experience, doesn't want to know about that experience, but created enough space for me to explain whatever or share whatever I needed to about that experience.
Yeah. That's a great person to have in your life.
And, well, I think that's what I'm sitting in so much gratitude for is a ton of those people in my life.
And I want to say something that's more for me than it is for you, because I can make this mistake. And I had a counselor one time, tell me this, because I shared that certain things were very triggering to me, and that's why I don't watch certain horror films or types of movies and stuff. And I was like, this is a problem. Like, I'm very sensitive to these kind of topics. And the counselor just very simply said, like, is that something you really want to work on? Like,
right.
We could work on that. Like, you could be less sensitive to those things, but what's the benefit of that? Like, why would you want to do that? And so I think oftentimes, like, I'll hear stories like these, like you're saying, and I'll think to myself, it's like, oh yeah, see, I need to push myself harder. And it's like, that's not the answer. It's like, of course, somebody who's had those experiences will be more sensitive to them. Like, how great is it for the public masses to have no idea what that is like, and so they can enjoy this fantasy of a slasher film because it's so far removed from reality. It is not very far removed from your reality. In fact, it plays it out. And so that's not the point, is to be desensitized to it.
No.
So I just kind of want to mention that too.
But that's the container that she kind of created there. Just like, that's violence.
You're supposed to be sensitive to those things. Yeah.
Especially if you're sitting here telling me like people don't bleed out like that. My first question was, how do you know that?
I've seen it.
She didn't say it like that.
Yeah.
Because she was creating that container for all of this like liquid, gooey, watery stuff to kind of spill out of me.
Yeah.
And it was still safe.
Yep. Yeah, I've been thinking a lot about the friendship thing too, man. It's like, you got to be careful who you are around. We're such social creatures that, you'll become the people you surround yourself with. And so that takes some deliberateness to choose who you're going to be close to.
And pain.
Yeah.
And
I guess that's a good point. I guess I'll say the last thing that I want to clarify, maybe again for myself more than anybody, maybe those listening, is the point is not to go towards pain.
Just for the sake of pain.
That's not it.
Right.
Yeah, that's torture. And that's something I fall into quite often, is like moving towards pain for the sake of desensitizing myself, because then I'll be stronger, because then the pain won't hurt me.
That's really why you're my friend. Right there?
That's it.
Because
yes, I do know that. There's other reasons, but definitely that one. The other part is that's the wrong direction. And even hypnotically speaking, like hypnotherapy stuff, you don't want to move towards desensitizing the pain. That's not the point. In order to grow your breadth of experience and the depth of a person that you are, move further towards the things that are beautiful and amazing. Because by moving towards them, you'll automatically have to reckon with the opposite extreme. The more that I love someone, the more painful it is to lose them.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean I want to love somebody this much. I want to love them this much. Even if that means I have to accept that one day I won't have them.
I didn't think we were going to get there.
But consensually, I move towards that. Just because losing them will hurt this much doesn't mean that I want to sacrifice loving them this much.
Oof, that's what this whole year has been about for me.
Yeah. That's what I think it looks like. Is like I want to move towards the greatest life experience. And as I move towards the greatest life experience, I also have to walk through some of the most painful things. I'm not doing it for the painful things or to be desensitized by the painful things. I'm doing it, out of love.
I don't think there's anything more beautiful than that, man.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I think that's the point. Well, there's the second episode where Jesse cries. Oh. Thanks, Zach. Good questions.
But that's
Damn.
That's the point too for everybody that's watching and listening to this, is like these tears are of gratitude and joy
And love.
and love.
Yeah, I don't know how you wrap that one up, but that's all I got. That's all I got to say about that.
Yeah, I don't. Have a great day.
Yeah.
Have a beautiful day.
Well, I do think it's a conversation. And so whether you're watching this on YouTube or Instagram or Spotify, let me know what connects with you. We're all living that human experience, and that's my story. That's some of your story. What's yours? How do you connect with it? How do you agree or disagree? I think that's the point of this, is we learn more and more what it means to be human by sharing our experiences and the way that we're living. So I'd love to hear what you've got to say. That's all I've got to say. Until next time. Bye.